everybody. My name is Dr. Francois Tessier. I am the CEO of the Center for Complementary Therapy and Pain Management in Sri Lanka. Welcome to the Complementary Therapy Talks YouTube channel, where you discover the most amazing doctors, therapists, philosophers, artists, shaman, healers, acupuncturists, animal facilitated therapists, psychic medium, etc., that are practicing complementary therapies worldwide in their own way. Today, our guest is someone very special, and he has an extended background and an unbelievable journey. Our guest is HE Professor Sir Dr. Roland Yakoubov, energy healing therapist, researcher, founder, director at Roland BIOENERGY Healing Institute in California, USA. However, Dr. Yakoubov is talking with us today from Armenia. His institute is affiliated with the Open International University for Complementary Medicine in Colombo, Sri Lanka. Dr. Roland is an honorary Senate member of the board of directors of this university. He is based in Glendale, California, and he is internationally recognized for his expertise in biofield science and healing. He is the inventor of a non-invasive holistic healing method for maintaining cellular integrity that is designed to work on the biofield and on the living organism. Currently, Dr. Yakoubov and his institute is conducting experiment overseas with the ORBELI Exploration Institute in Physiology at the Armenian Republic Academy of Science, and together they have documented its ability to remotely impact biologically organisms. He is also working with Dr. Beverly Rubik, PhD, president of the Institute of Frontier Science in California. Dr. Yakoubov, your journey is very diverse and very extensive, so introducing you is very difficult, so I will just say welcome and thank you for accepting this interview with me. Thank you very much, Dr. Roland.
Thank you so much, Francois. Thank you for introduction. Well, titles really don't mean anything. It's just it's nice to diplomas are assets. So I wanted to start a conversation as a form of practicing yoga to extend my knowledge and understand the entire physiology. Unlike now these days, how physical doctors are divided on different categories of biological body parts that they're working and treating it pharmaceutically. Then pharmaceutical companies, one prescribed medication goes against the other. So the method itself, it's all about stillness, while the healer performs to change the pattern of the frequency to bring peace of mind. And once your mind is completely relaxed and empty, your central nervous system relaxes, so is your muscle tissues. And microcirculation optimizes. But another great thing in the second level of study was that I'm capable of lifting the prana far enough and connecting to the energy source by fully removing the frontal lobe trauma, because we are all traumatized individual being and going to traumatized journey. And I think the first thing, which is now these days yoga in San Francisco is stating as a form of statistics and science behind it that 87%, which I already knew about 99.9%, they're not very accurate. Since I studied with KGB, my aunt worked for KGB, and
Dear Roland,
yes, go ahead.
I am keen to hear about your beautiful auntie. Can you talk about your aunt? Because your auntie is a very special lady in Russia.
Oh my goodness, 1962, Open International University Medicine Alternative was open in Kazakhstan. And then a charter was given to Anton Jasuria in Sri Lanka. And that's the story. And I met Anton Jasuri when I attend for schooling to visit my aunt when I discovered my gift. Well, the gift goes in every, it repeats itself in every third generation. My great grandmother had it, her dad had it, and so they're like, our cousins. And so we're not like very immediate relatives, but we're, it's a small Assyrian society that's immigrated, and some of them is in Russia, some of them in Ormia, some of them in Armenia, in the former USSR before it just came apart. And then the corporation started, and globalization and informatization of the planet started. So due to that, she already knew the reforming is starting. She asked me not to leave, but then it didn't really feel free. And she mentioned that, well, she gave me lots of money. She says, go. Well, the thing is, she was constantly 24/7 under the control of the KGB. The entire government just flew her within 24 hours after she fixed the Georgian Prime Minister Shoronadz's heart attack and rejuvenated his artery, because due to heart attack, your artery actually completely dies. So, and they knew that she has a regenerative property. Brezhnev needed her, although right now the sources are declining and saying some horrible stuff about biophysics. It's very important to people to understand that this woman contributed a great deal of her life into helping humanity, into helping every individual being, guiding them towards light.
Did she inspire you? Because she was a powerful healer. She was really an inspirational lady, wasn't she? And did she inspire you to reach your talent, reach your own capacity to heal?
Yes, she told me how to communicate telepathically with people, and only that way, and never speak. And she says that speaking is very negative, because you try to divert and dissect things and put them apart. And that is not a true healer. In prana, there's no division, and then there's constant oneness. So you have to remain silent and have your procedure done. So the documentation was done by, she taught all of the registered nurses in Kremlin. And what happened, they were working on political dignity. She chose chosen ones, and I would do cleaning on her because she taught me the most. So I didn't really, she also taught me that she gave me the fifth element star first time, and she says, what you are is limitless.
Can you explain, for the benefit of the audience, this concept in your own point of view, Dr. Roland, please? How does the mind, the body, and the spirit connect together and create sickness, or the opposite, wellness? How does it work? How this connection works? Because the audience may not know that simple concept. How do you see that, please?
And every individual being is stuck in a loop of chain of tradition, upbringing, emotions, etc. It's all a chain. So it's a choice of foods, choice of strategy of traditions, etc. When you study yoga, you let go of all of that, and you understand the value and foundation of the body, and then you understand the oneness, which I already have. And I had the process of having an empty mind, but I studied the physical body. I said, I want to know where my toe, my arteria connects to where my right toe, how that connects to my, right thumb. So I wanted to improve my neurokinetics, and I also break about 10 laws of physics. So, laws of physics. This is a loop that we move. Like I earlier mentioned, religion, for example, you're French, you like French bourguignon. Or if you're vegetarian, you don't. So whatever strategy you choose, it's a cycle. It's like you're a little mouse who's running around to meet the ends, and then you borrow money, you expand, and then the choices that you make in your life, due to its toxicity and due to muscle degeneration, due to aging, hormonal losses that are wired into your choices. So most of the time people want a healing, they ask me, Roland, are we going to get sick again? I don't know, I said. So I tell them about this story, and I also say, how do you expect to change if you don't change, if you don't break this cycle? How do you see yourself changing? When I raise trauma, they feel very close to me because they connect to oneness. And when you connect to oneness, there's such a peace that sometimes people ask me, oh, could you do evil with this? Just stresses me out where that would occur. However, consciousness works following. I want you to imagine water.
Yeah.
And you throw something into water.
Yeah.
It doesn't throw it back at you, does it?
Yeah. No.
No. Creates a wave. So your brain waves are wired into that circle.
I would like to have a case study that struck or that you're attached. Tell me about patient that comes to see you, and you had some success, and the relationship between yourself and the patient. What kind of patient are going to meet you, and what do they have, and what do you do with them?
All I ask to bring their blood work, to engage with brand, to do a sequence of the healings and look at the blood work before for 21 days, even if it's remotely done. I've done it on 12,000 kilometers. It still affects the water. Also did an experiment with Canada, Brazil, Germany, and you've mentioned Armenia and entire United States. And
remote healing.
These people have remote healing. These people have a mind agenda to try to take you down or have this dismissals. But Francois, like I mentioned, I am, you are, or I am, we are, all of us one. So when person begins to judge the process, that's the first insanity I see in an individual being, because they're talking about themselves. So you get to see it when you're present and your mind is empty. So I make a check on my checklist. Then I look into blood work to see blood damage, and I look at the ethnicity, and I understand the patterns. And I see where it occurs in the frontal lobe, and due to wear and tear, I do assessment to how many sessions it's being done. The formal session is 21 sessions. After receiving the blood work, the test in the beginning, I do another test right after the 21 days, and then you see the changes in your blood work. When the central nervous system is, for example, we did a study. I'll make a quick example. We did a study on social anxiety, which is going on now. And to make it more clear, I use 20 other students to do the same thing.
Oh.
So the blood work changed after 21 days. So it
really?
decreased the cortisol levels. If it decreases the cortisol level, it means you won't retain water or fat. So people lose weight from my sessions. So the consciousness itself and healing itself, I've engaged it with meditation pattern. For example, if your session is at 2 o'clock, has to be at 2 o'clock to train the mind and body to relax at that time. And if it's session of 45 minutes, add that up for 21 days. Imagine doing that for 6 months. Your brain, your DNA changes. If the blood work changes, we looked at it with Beverly Rubik. It affects epigenetically. So it fixes your DNA and makes you young.
You mentioned Dr. Beverly Rubik. And I've met Dr. Rubik, and she's just an amazing scientist. Can you describe who she is and what is your work with her?
With Dr. Beverly Rubik, we wanted to tackle how to build the epigenetic prototype.
Okay.
This COVID-19 is a different proposal. So epigenetic device would be, we thought of it to make it like for example, like a cocoon for tanning cocoon, tanning machine. So you get inside and your cells get all rejuvenated. You get charged all the way. And every single organ does. So we have that capability to build that device. It's about, a proposal. I already have it. I can approaching companies. So I have approached a couple of companies, and they've offered, there's a guy from Saudi Arabia offered, he, owns a huge oil companies that could invest. So then they vaguely answered back. So what I do, Francois, I have very little time. So I talk and text. Sometimes even I don't check my grammatics, just like a regular doctor. So I guess they think I'm insane. So no, I just don't have time, people. So what I do, I quickly send out a message, and a proposal is there that decently is written. So if he's not going to be looking at it, he never looked at it. So all you have to do is open it. So I've started not getting discouraged, just filtering these things, because it seems like people will invest more into, I don't know, vaccines and doing all this craziness, than would invest into something that actually profoundly, it's a huge salon, you come, you get charged, your immune system is optimum, your fat melts away, you're set. And epigenetically, that we did this, we also talked about food and nutrition, how my ability affects that. And we have a problem, she said. I said, I know. Well, right now with G5, with radiation, I shared the story on Facebook. Basically, the radiation creates a thickness in your blood. It becomes like a blood clot. I've asked Professor Lakshman to create a petition so it can go to court. No one's really engaging, and I don't really have much time. But what happens doing that, hemoglobin and getting the stack of quarters and the hemoglobin exchange and then oxygen through the bloodstream is not going, particularly does not enter your brain. So there's no oxygenation, so you can have a blood clot and die. Plus anxiety, plus mass, plus carbon dioxide into your lungs. So it's all negative. And the United States has been going nuts since 1999 when I made Jennifer Lopez, when I was doing that healing on her. But it's like you work on celebrities, you sign this ridiculous contracts and about that you're some kind of a secret source of their energy. And it's, for example, I introduced her, makeup artist, and makeup artist got fired because he got an HIV. And HIV is a designed virus. And so I'm standing to epigenetically work on him. And he says, I don't want you to fix it because the pharmaceutical companies will kill you. So I got Dame Djuna
is a biophysicist, isn't she?
At once. And she been approached by Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson told her to, well, I'll buy you a house, come and fix me over here. She was so insulted. She met Michael Jackson. She met all the political dignitaries, but now everybody's saying something horrible, including Queen of England. Queen of England, the primary doctor came for healing to Russia. I remember every day we would receive this big basket of roses. In the morning, she fixed this arrhythmia. And these things come from a lack of knowledge in nutritional factor, how to tend to the body, and not really living in a harmony or treating yourself nicely.
So,
and which sets a horrible example for our future generation, I want to mention.
Yes. Dr. Ubik did amazing work when I met her on water. She taught us to work with water, to purify water with energy healing, to change the structure of water. Is it alike of what you're doing with your own method, Dr. Roland?
I am going to go back to a conversation we just had. With Dr. Rubik, we did a group of series of regenerating dead sperm counts. Dead sperm counts, when sperm comes into together within an oxygen, they die. So you regenerated. So I replicated my aunt's experiment. It's in commercials. So although people, God knows what they think, it doesn't matter. So the consciousness in water, going back to the stone throwing into a lake, if your mind is still and you're putting that thought pattern, you're changing the pattern of water by affecting in which Djuna told them in, oh my goodness, 1983. how to do 12 circles. Hold your hands still. You have to make a solid touch in here with the finger to constantly feel that point. And in a circular motion, like everything grows in nature in the Fibonacci code, 12 times circle it around and feel the pattern back, wave, air, sign, and always needs to be done on inhalation and exhalation by programming the water and removing the old traveled information through, I don't know, tubes and, you know, environmental areas. It comes to the two sources that it comes to us. And in source lately in the United States has been putting estrogen and progesterones for men to supply to suppress their testosterone. All sorts of things are being done. So charging water by Beverly Rubik is the first thing that you need to do to prepare the water for yourself. Also, I would recommend to put the water in a copper bottle overnight. So not only it kills the bacteria, it improves the electric conductivity. I also put it in, you know, for example, our Armenian water is holds the second place in the world. It's drinking water. We have a lake that you can drink it from a lake. You can drink, it's pure lake. It's a pure drinking water. And plus you can have fish there, you can have a house there. It's like a miracle on top of the mountains. So it's like about 900, I want to say 900 feet higher than the ocean or something like that. I have to look into it to give you precise answers. So this water that you're charging, your mind needs to be very still to be able to continuously doing that. But when you reach that point that you asking yourself, oh, my mind has to be still, take a breath. Meaning I already like give you a program. So every time that you do another circle, you have to think about, oh, my mind needs to be still. Circle another one around. So basically all of your thought patterns, just like a lake, are being placed into that water, and it basically helps you flush the toxins by programming it. And every thought pattern that every time you stop at that thought pattern, oh, I have to be more peaceful, is the information that you're going to load the water with. For example, that would be a first step. That's what I do with clients. That's what I do with everyone else. So indefinitely every individual being can try something. They can put like a bunch of salt in the water and get a Corona battery and put it in the water. The water will start spinning. Water is a pure energy and electric conductivity, and it helps to flush toxins, flush lymphatic toxins, and it's a life. It has a life. It has memories. And we are made of 99.7% of water, which is 67% of it is salt water. And salt water could be programmed. As we know, crystal systems are being programmed and used everywhere. Now we're going to have subways that are going to run on those. It packs and has a tremendous amount of memory. And we are just not educated in this area, which there need to be awareness. And people get frustrated. For example, if it's a makeup, you apply it, you see immediate results. So they want something immediately. And it is important to also, perhaps, if you don't have a copper bottle or don't have time to charge the water, what I do is put it in a glass bottle and put it outside. So the first thing in the morning, sun charges it, then consume it. But let it stay for a day away from the environment. That came to me from, we had a house in a village, and my grandmother, when they would bring the water, they said, no, let it sit. That will be good to drink tomorrow. I didn't ask. I didn't ask. I just followed procedure. But it was tasty. It was stiller and then cleaner. The energy is much better. And you will notice a difference during that consumption. For other people, for microflora infection, I'd like to recommend just slice of carrot in their water, leave it overnight, and drink it. It's a natural probiotic, and natural sugar will awaken the brain and sort of experience.
How do you join your yoga practice with your energy healing practice. There is a link, there is a clear link. But can you familiarize me with how these two things match or join together? Yoga, because you are a very advanced practitioner.
It's breath. So in yoga, we have sequences where you can wrap your stomach basically around your spine, so you can control your inner organs. My first thing was, when I got there, decide to keep it that way because I have more control. If I want to do an exercise on my liver, I do exercise on my liver. I flush additional toxins. So this I start using in my regular practice, and I've noticed when I reach certain level of consciousness, which is breath connects to the mind and then it's complete emptiness, but at the same time I use my own body and its structure. And I want to tell you that doing the yoga, you access full brain potential. We only use probably 5 to 10% the most. Even if you're rational and intellectual, when you connect the body, mind, spirit, and then that into oneness, so what happens, that your spine decompresses and naturally your body begins to just start gravitating towards up. And I know how to cleanse the chakras and lift it up. Just I connect my own practice in doing in sequences. I connect the sequence of the pattern of yoga, the breath, and the sequence of the healing into oneness. And by performing that to the way the natural body design is, manifest precisely where I want them to be. However, I've designed the stepping stone yoga for people to be able to, because empowering people or giving them health and then having them to go back into their patterns and discouragedly coming here or going to a pharmaceutical company was not an option for me. But it was an option for me to see if I have serious people around. And those serious people, I wanted to empower them to understand that they can heal themselves.
Yeah.
And that's when I created the yoga, and that was I created meditation, Pilates, and etc. Two different mind forms. Like for example, Pilates, it's all focused on the core, but yoga gives you essence of your spirit, and it's different. This one is all on the core and aesthetics. So I wanted to take that and connect that with yoga to do, and I launched my first class, PIO, which is yoga and Pilates in 24-hour fitness, because it became famous on 50 states. Everybody was taking it. So you connect the core, but at the same time, fire breath and all other breaths that are essential to manipulate the muscle to have more longevity and manageability. And as an individual who is rational, I wanted to find out for age degeneration, first thing you see when people get older, their spine shrinks. So what is it that I could do to upkeep the integrity of spine? So the only thing is yoga. However, most people, I'm Christian upbringing, but however, most people from my Christian religion, they're like, oh, so you're not believing into Christ's power. You used to be doing this, now you're a Buddhist. So I removed all of the Sanskrit out of it, and I created a physical fitness, combined it with the just simply explanation of anatomy, what it does for you as a form of physical fitness. So people don't think that they're being wired, programmed, or becoming Buddhist. All of these things are false. And the thing is that we're all united in one breath. Either religion is good. And no matter what religious book you open up, it still charges the cells and guides you towards light. So it can't be all that bad. It just does a positive thing just because you're bringing is this and that. So I'm glad that I did this, because it's I have so much love for everyone all the time. It's ridiculous. People ask me, what's wrong with you? Why are you so happy? Why you care? I said, well, it's something you put out there because this is what you want your life to be, surrounded by love. It's very simple to me. So, but people, could do this, could do that. I said, well, that's their choice to what they want to do. You can't control that, but you can spare and give whatever it is you're here. And so who comes, you give.
And so you have to give abundance. So what I'm saying is, don't come to me for that. Try to give abundance every day to yourself by waking up in the morning and saying you can breathe, you can go to the bathroom, you can digest food, you can attend to things. When my grandma passed away, I learned a good lesson. Everybody put her in a nursing home in their busy schedule. I closed my yoga studio and I took her out with a nursing home. I changed diapers until the end, until she passed away in my hands. And I am very loyal, extremely. And also, I don't let people down ever, because it's not something I do. Well, I'm physically capable of doing that. That's not a problem. So I do it. I cook and I clean and I do science and sex. It's fun for me. Most people get anxiety from this. My grandma looked at me one day and says, well, I don't feel comfortable you're doing this for me. And I said, Grandma, how long have you been changing my diapers? I just asked a simple question. Well, about until you were 2 or 3. I said, well, let's try to do this for 2-3 years, since it's a karma thing, to give back. I said, if it doesn't, work out, I'll take you back. So we start laughing, because these things don't matter. What matters is when a person comes into the clinic, and that's my approach, has always been that way. You don't look at religion, you don't look at color. So basically the energy healing, I asked the client to close their eyes, and I just slightly look, but my goal is to concentrate to inwards and to what I feel outside of the flare in the energy field, to basically sculpt it. And once it's sculpted, it begins to change the pattern. So you don't look at these things. You look at the person is sick, you have to help him, and that's your job. So once you have that mindset, you'd be a phenomenal healer.
Yes.
But if you have this judgment thing, I don't think you're fit to be a healer.
I understand. You said something that struck my mind, is self-healing. The patient is healing. You are not healing the patient. The body heal itself. That's a very important concept for energy healing. Can you develop on that, please, doctor?
For example, if you were to charge your water in the morning, or if you're bored and you don't like doing that, put it under the sun, like I mentioned. First thing is, when you wake up in the morning, your brain and our soul is a radio frequency. You have to tune your mind every day on something positive. Now we have these two contradicting things against each other. If you don't disconnect from social media, or you don't disconnect to have a peace of mind, and if your body is feeling sick, your telephone is radioactively attacking your brain waves like a microwave. How do you expect to feel better if your cells are not united and functioning normal, and you have a terrible heart rate, and plus you have that mass that you're breathing carbon dioxide in your face? So what happens in here? First thing in the morning when I wake up, I do pick up my hands. I put it over here. This is the frontal lobe. And I do circular motions. My wrist gets heavy, I remove it. Also, thoughts come behind that. Like, oh, maybe my hands is lifted, maybe I'm not feeling anything. Just go with the motion until you feel the whole frontal lobe will get approximately the same type of a temperature feedback in your hand. You will feel your forehead warming up. So I do it 3 times, 3 sets, 7 circles around to activate my frontal lobe. This frontal lobe is responsible for all of your moving body parts. Second, what I do is I take a deep breath. First thing, I thank God I'm alive. And thank Him for every breath and my journey, and what an extraordinary journey it is. And I'm always getting up happy because, I get to see people and help them. First thing you do is tune yourself, and if you don't tune yourself, and for example, like in Bible says, if you don't water your garden, if you don't harvest the proceeds, how do you expect to share with anybody? So first is you. You have to focus on your brain waves. You have to focus how you feel and attend to it to the best of your ability at most care. I know most people jump out of bed, drink coffee, and jump right out of bed, right out to work. There has to be a balance of things in life, and you have to attend to bed at a certain hour to be able to go to sleep, get up at a certain time. So your central nervous system is completely functionable, relaxed. Cell phones need to be turned off. For example, youngsters are looking at it. So naturally, your parasympathetic nervous system is designed, for example, chickens, it's evening, they naturally get blind, they go to sleep. So pupil dilates by sending a melatonin signaling the brain to produce a melatonin, so you go naturally drift to sleep.
Yeah.
People don't do that. They're on their cell phones. You're constantly creating a diversion in your brain by, instead of allowing the pupil to relax so the brain drifts naturally into sleeping mode, you aggressively attacking by entertaining all sorts of images and radiation into your brainwave. So first things you do, good timing and a balanced relationship with technology. Put it on the side, unwinding time. I recommend comedy or reading a good book. That's my favorite. I have like, my favorite thing is sit in a window. We have a big place where you sit in the window and you read it, with a little book or wherever you can, and naturally begin to unwind. And once you put that book to the side and you go to sleep, you have to sleep your full hours and perhaps do the exercise. First thing you do is pick up that water in the morning and have about, I do 200 milligrams of water to flush out the kidneys and toxins, etc. Then I follow up by exercise to kind of feel that my body can move, I can attend to it, and then slowly, gradually wake up.
That's fantastic wisdom, Dr. Roland. It's amazing. I guess that you are teaching that to you. You are a teacher also, Dr. Roland, isn't you? You are teaching to your patient how to be healthy. And aren't you teaching to students also? Because I saw that you have students. Some of
Yes.
we lost to your image.
I'm sorry. Let me see what I can do. Oh my goodness. Hello?
Hi.
Okay. Hi. So the students, I don't teach them to be this melodramatic because people are on the go. So what I do is do a combination of Pilates and yoga. So if it's, I teach them different frequency of energy and breathing. For example, like if you have to go to lunch, you need to be energized, you need Pilates. But at the same time, you need to be relaxed to be able to have that relaxed energy to carry on with your day, but yet aggressive energy to still have your central nervous system be able to connect with your brain and be functionable and still not depend on caffeine or anything else. So I've designed lunchtime yoga, which would be doing a yoga and then followed up by Pilates, which will relax your central nervous system first, then connect your powerhouse, which is Pilates, and that is your core. And I finish with that so you feel instantly relaxed but yet aligned and charged. In the evening, I've designed a different program where you do Pilates to charge up and remove the stress, and then follow up with the yoga to drift into relaxing mode. However, a lot of people don't attend to these things because they don't think their biological bodies is matter and they live forever. So they pop pills. So there's really nothing I can do unless the student really is committed. And I end up dealing only with committed people. And the other one's just basic yoga until they try to improve to go to the next level. Otherwise, I'd come across as too pushy, or like they called me in 24-hour fitness when I was like extremely fit. They called me the muscle Nazi.
You teach them yoga, but do you teach your method of healing also? Because you teach yoga.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
The method of healing, I teach the first level. to everyone, but only if they have a background in anatomy and physiology to understand how sequences work and why it's packaged that way. For example, oh, excuse me. The first sequences is packaged from brain to hip, relaxational mode, then opening and repairing the organs, and etc. So it's also put together in an app that right now we are formatting it to iPhone 11 that came out, because each time you get a new licensing for reprogramming it. But the students that have that knowledge, and also physical trainers with physical fitness and massage therapists, are always welcome, because they know physical body, and understanding the musculature will help. But even if you don't know that, I've packaged just enough on apps so everybody can have an access to learn the method. Most importantly now, I teach that particular app package method to everyone. And the reason why, because I want one and another practice on one another and see the results. Because naturally, women are goddesses. They have their kids and they have a healing factor on their moms. That's what Djuna used to say. And when we were young, we all slept in like a couple of people slept together. We didn't have much space. So biological heat, helps to heal. It has a healing factor. Just laying hands on somebody. And a lot of people, by losing contacts and constantly, oh, I need my space, I need my space. I'm like, you'll have your space when you're no longer here, but you'll be in a different space. So it's good to understand that this method teaches you how not to teach, so it's not irritable to the client or a patient. It is very powerful. It changes the pattern of the individual being, and as you change their pattern, your energy levels change, and production of your new clientele comes in like a chain reaction, because if one feels better, the other one brings in the other patient. All you have to do is, in a method, when people start taking class, guess what's the secret? I said, slow down, way down, and incorporate with inhale and exhale. That's all it takes. And appropriately doing there are 13 moves, Francois.
Yeah.
There are only 13 moves. They're so easily to learn. So I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely. It's lovely also to hear that. Dr. Roland, I would like to develop a little bit on your research, because that's quite audacious to do a research on energy healing, remote energy healing. I believe you are one of the most important researcher that is going to prove the validity of remote energy healing. What is your research purpose, and what is it? And are you going to publish some result one day?
The results are published. I'll send it to you to read. It works on cancer as well. But the idea was, there was 12 hours of difference between Armenia and LA. And so when they would go to sleep, this particular product, the called Bioscope, is totally designed to sense any type of energy. And it's so beautiful. For example, we tried cutting a leaf off the tree, putting it on the machine, and it shows the pattern of atoms moving. But most importantly, the other, we sent another scientist to the same tree where we got the leaf from. So he set it on fire, the leaf on the tree on fire. It sent a signal to the other leaf that was on the machine, and it started moving. So it's all connected. It's a whole entire network. And it was very fascinating. So we published it. So we decided to do, how about we'll do lemon or some other object that has a high content of water, and the biological body has a content of water as well. So we tried a lemon, and I was, they set up the experiment, and they set up an experiment at 12 midnight, and they go to bed. No one's moving, no cars, nothing. So we did the experiment, and we had results. how that inflicting the energy. And most of the time when I do remote healing on my clients, their mind completely stops thinking. That's my ability.
So you can demonstrate that even if the patient is not physically present to you, even if it's another biological component, your mind can tap into the cells remotely and impact, isn't it?
Impact and deliver it, yes. But we did another experiment. It can do it. It brings this energy that interacts with the lemon that's standing still, and the atoms are registered. So it's a profound change while it's already showing that the atoms of the lemon are moving. So it's a constant. And then it shows interaction of my ability, which is an evidence.
Yes.
And so this thing is now what's being right now controlled is they're trying to get to the source with the robots as a form of nanotechnology to seed of the soul. And as you see, rationally being over-rationalized and individual being forced to work 3 jobs and meet the end to move things forward. And now everything that's paid up for and computers are designed, so now they want cheaping. But I'm sure I have the access to the source, but I'm not going to let it happen.
Yeah. All right.
Meaning, nanotechnology has been invented by my Aunt Djuna. She was participating with these individuals being for this, for the certain things that goes that repairs DNA. So I'm saying that if epigenetically one individual can restore someone else's DNA or impact on 12,000 kilometers, do we really need cell phones? Do we really need healthcare that is not complete, where it's not integrated, where it's not precisely documented not to use a 20 to 30-year-old medication that has high side effects? We have iPhones now, so we can upgrade things. So what I wanted to do is integrate medicine together and see if we can do better.
Yes.
So let's order that. And but the scientific evidence, I will go ahead and send it to you if you'd like to watch. But it's boring paperwork. It's a lot.
What is that? It's not boring at all, doctor. Please. You talk about a very interesting concept: integrative medicine, complementary medicine, and this is what our university, because we share this, share the same. Can you explain this concept, the integration between these 2 approaches? Complementary in your words.
For example, each individual being has a different schedule. Some that are very wealthy clients of mine, they have time for yoga, they have time for meditation. And they will go ahead and take the course or have their own clinic to complement it, take my license, and then use it in their clinic. But people do not have moderation between integrating just to be not overly sedative with medications that are responsible for... Hello?
I am coming.
Okay. Medications that are overproduced. For example, I remember we had penicillin. I know if you remember, it's an old one. And we had 10 milligram for sale here. Do you know how much they upgraded here after they united with the United States? 500 milligrams. When I went to a doctor, it was like, I'm a human being. I get a flu too. So I said, I'm having this cough. And I'm like, and I don't know why. I have to go for healing here. He prescribes me, it's a cough, so I just want to recover quicker, but without this thing. So I did the natural remedies. I said, do you have anything herbal? It was a Russian doctor, because back then we didn't really prescribe that many medications. It was more herbal as well, which was integrated in back in USSR, which was much, much better.
And that's what pretty much with integrative medicine I want. So he gave me 500 milligrams antibiotics, same thing now they're prescribing here. I asked him one question. I said, I am very well educated, but I want to ask you something simple, doctor. And he says, yes, what is it? Professor Roland, I said, what is it precisely you want to kill in my body? Understand?
Yes.
What are you killing? What needs to die? My good microflora? Or... So I start more working harder to have time enough for my own recovery, for my own yoga, for my own meditation, for my own space, for my own clinic, because I've stopped believing in potential corruption in these things that are constantly ongoingly killing microflora. For example, over here still, when you consume enough of antibiotics, you have you have another situation. It's like they call it here like mushrooms. You get like a situation with like a fungus.
Yeah.
So they give you antifungal. In the United States, they don't even do that. So I don't really know anymore where medical industries had it. And I worked on Cedars-Sinai, the professor, Jonathan Merrill, and he had a problem with his narcolepsy, which I fixed. We have 2 million patients with narcolepsy. I've worked on Tori Ali patient who's in UCLA who regenerated her heart. But if human body, the potential can do that, do we really need to sedate people so much and not have integration to do greater good for a human body instead of just keeping them so sedated by actually merging body, mind, spirit, heart, soul, and connect them all together, which is a complete total care. So what I suggest to every individual being for to get a blender, to blend their greens, to have their fiber, to have about 75 grams of protein, to stay very, well off calories, but integrate medicine only if it's necessary. So stay as natural as possible, integrate it in very last resort where you are, having some serious terminal problem. And that's how the USSR used to be.
Yeah.
And now it's just all pharma. It's all pharma. People don't believe into healers. I'm like, how can you not believe into a breath or a human touch? Without it, you die. It's so simple to me, and yet I think they live in some kind of a delusion, to be quite honest. I don't want to be judgmental, but when people come in, I'm like, you have lost a sense of connection with nature. For example, we went to a forest. It's such an energy. You get charged, you come in, nature itself heals. It's abundantly supplying us with food, water, everything. We can't be that ignorant that everything around us is being savagely destroyed, not doing anything about it, or being conscious enough to integrate medicine only if absolutely necessary because it's toxic.
Yes, I understand.
This is where the integrative medicine comes.
Yeah.
It's a moderation. These are not candies, people. Don't pop them like M&Ms. Don't pop them like candies. They're not candies.
No.
These are things only absolutely necessary. For example, if you already have a chronic blood pressure, it's a must, or etc.
Yes.
I hope that answers the question.
Yes, of course, it answers perfectly the question. Dr. Roland, it was just amazing, but still, if you have a few minutes, I would like you to tell us about your future project. What do you have in front of you on your board? What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve more?
As a teamwork, I want to put together a device that creates something of, I don't know, do you remember these little plugins that we have for Sense?
Yeah.
Sense of Power. I wanted to create a plug for every individual being when they come in, they will reach this brainwave that I have. So I'm studying my brain to do that. And I think each individual mom that comes from a stressful day from their energy, it instantly goes to the baby. So if I wanted to put devices that can be plugged in to relax your central nervous system in your body and fight the irregular waves from remote controls and etc., to create an environment where your brain begins to function in a delta zone, like a rested form, to be able to transfer good energy to the baby. And that is our future generation. And for some reason, our kids are like schizophrenic, and their energies all over the place. They're very aggressive with their parents. They have zero respect, and I just do not welcome that. And I think that comes because from environment, the way they treat, the individual being at home, being treated as well, the way the economy is affecting us, and the way the state of things are, and individual being just doesn't have enough of patience even for their own child. So having a device like that would be valuable to relax someone's central nervous system, to be able to attend to daily things without transferring that type of negative form of energy to the child. And also, due to statistics with BIOENERGY, like naturally every human being is designed to, what do we want? We want bank, money, success, kids in school, everything. We're naturally designed to be happy and joyful individual beings life. So what happens is, we all think for ourselves, but what about our future generations? What about our kids? And so we do the best we can to meet the ends, but this energy that we interact with every day with other people affects the energy field of every mom. And they don't cleanse, they don't meditate, they just bring that in. It's like a virus.
Yes.
Contamination to your energy field. And when we feel overwhelmed, we lock in a bedroom, watch TV, we need to be isolated. It's a detox. People need to detox every day from that radiation. I think that plug would give them an opportunity to keep a detoxifying situation for the kid, and moderation with electronics interaction, good food, good book for me, and a sense of just common sense. When it's night, you go to sleep, you rest, and have balance of things. And of course, Saturday and Sunday were people who are naturally designed to have fun, but natural design of individual being wanting the best for their own child, this would be the only way. So naturally, we need to start also feeling same way towards one another,
Right.
like towards our children. And I believe that this device will give an opportunity to every mother to cleanse and give that cleansing energy to the child, so they would be infected with peace. Basically, that's my instead of this scattered. Well, mother's love is unconditional. It's not replaceable. Well, I mean, I don't want to be against man or against, but men are really irrelevant when kids grow up. So kids are naturally prone to, want their mother. She created every their cell. And for women out there, oh my God, you're so big. You're as closest to God. You create soul, life, combined joints in your third trimester. You create BCBD that combines electric conductivity, that combines the joints to create body. I mean, women have got to wake up into this huge individual being that they are. And then also they need to stand up for future generation. If we have ever wanted to be successful in life, it has to be through women and mothers, because facilitating central nervous system relaxation for the mother that transfers to the kid, that is the beginning of change. If you don't make that change, it will never happen, because it's a constant manipulative agenda where the individual being is not knowing what is up, what is down, what's going on. And so that's a good state of control. But at the same time, when you come to your environment, it is mandatory not to bring that infectious energy, horrible, to central nervous system of your newborn child. Because kids are, they're always happy. And then if something doesn't feel good, they cry. They're very simple.
Yes.
And to be quite honest, every child that's being born is genius. We're the one who program them and complicate the hell out of them.
I just wanted to say that.
To get it off my chest. I feel better.
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to see this device. I'm looking forward to see your future device.
Well, hopefully, and there's like it's 2 years of prototype put together. I actually can send it to you so you can see. We have that put together too, but we have to get I don't know, a good investor women's that pretty much understand, and all they have to do is experience my ability, and once they feel the peace and connection, well, kids, animals, dogs, birds, they gravitate towards me. So I believe that the peaceful environment, like for example, with the G5, birds are attacking the towers, so it's a natural interference with electromagnetic field on the planet. I want to ask you one thing. It's been a study, I think it's a French study, that each child, before he's being born, in a womb of mother, they already know their own language.
Of course they do. Yes.
Can you imagine what this radiation is going to do to the water?
Yes, absolutely.
That's why I want that device.
French are very advanced in that field. I don't know if you're aware of the Lavoisier method of birth in water. Have you seen these baths, these fantastic baths, where the mother, we have that in Montreal also, the mother gives birth to the baby in water. They are not giving birth, this is a special room with tempered light, and we have that in our culture. We use this. This is called the Lavoisier method, and this is fantastic.
I think it's fantastic, yeah.
The amount of that is just unbelievable.
Well, not only that, there's no body weight, the pressure will be a lot less, and there's a whole lot more. We are made of water, for God's sake, people. You take a bath, you feel good. So try to follow what you feel. If it doesn't feel good, try not to do it, avoid it, or change jobs. Please, for God's sake, start taking care of yourselves and unite already.
I will take that for myself, doctor. I will take that for myself. Thank you for the advice.
Salt bath.
Needs to be
Take a bath in Epsom salt and lavender oil. It's phenomenal.
I know. Yes. Well, doctor, we're going to close our fantastic interview. I have no words to thank you. You want to show us something? I think you want to show us your child.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. So, what do I want to show you?
I don't know. You were. I thought. Yeah.
Well, no. I want to show you the anti-gravity ability. So this is like a candle from the store. I'm gonna light up. It's I think it's fresh lemon.
Oh. Good.
So you take this little guy. Okay. You put your hand on it, and and you pick it up. The best part is for you to keep your mind empty, but at the same time keep understanding that it's like part of your body, like your sixth finger.
Yes, you merge.
And so once we understand that we're united with everything, with every tree, like every experience, or a leaf that sends a signal to the other, it's a whole entire network. And people spend time more with nature. I think we'll be all right.
Yes. I'm already much more than before this interview. Dr. Roland, your wisdom is mind-blowing.
What a beautiful house you have.
Thank you. Thank you. When you come to Sri Lanka next time, hopefully, you're going to be invited. Well, Dr. Roland, we're going to conclude this interview. And
Of course. Have a blessed evening, and I will talk to you soon, my friend. All the best. To all blessings.
Be blessed. Have a pleasant day. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.